Twitter, you got Facebook, you got emails, you got phone calls, you got Netflix. It's like, need to simplify.
I agree, man. I agree. Simplification to me brings more joy. I think a lot of people would agree with that, and speaking of generational intelligence, we're talking about like advising, especially now with all the distractions. I have one more question for you, but the question actually isn't mine.
Okay.
And then I obviously want to share where everybody can find your book.
Okay.
Would you have any objection if Ethan jumped in and asked a question?
I'm so ready. Come on, Ethan.
There you go, E.
Yeah, right.
All right. So what advice would you give a teenager in this generation?
Wow. Big question. Fantastic question. The thing that scares me, Ethan, is, this is like going to be like a fully loaded shotgun blast. Okay. So, you're going to get some bad information here and you're going to get some real information here. And when I was a kid, we had marijuana, which was very illegal, by the way, and sneaking a beer. And, you could go to your friend's house and if, you sneak a bottle of vodka, whatever. So we were being kids. I don't necessarily agree with it. Like, hey, we're just being kids. I don't necessarily think that's a good thing. Boys will be boys and all that kind of stuff. Okay. So in my story is different than a lot of other young people's stories because I got playing rock and roll and it became part of the lifestyle. Well, the advice I would say is the drugs that are out there are not hit off of a joint or a beer. They'll kill you. And that scares me so bad for my children. I can't imagine if there was fentanyl laced hash, fentanyl laced. I read a story the other day where a guy, these comedians, they did a show and I think it was a joint. They shared a joint and 4 of them died. It was laced with fentanyl. It's so dangerous out there right now. And that's the thing I would say is like, if you can find a way around, if there's any peer pressure in your life, that's abound beer and alcohol, alcohol and drugs, try to take a real look at that because it's more dangerous than and you don't need it. You're young, like there's a lot of stuff that you want to focus on right now. And I had to go through a time where when I first got sober, I had to lose every single one of my friends. And it was a very challenging time. But I threw myself into health and fitness and I built new friendships and I wrote this album called Dr. Feelgood and the band was closer than ever and all this great stuff happened. So I'm just, to any young kids out there, try to look at the peer pressure and ask yourself if that's something that you want to take a chance on. You want to take a chance. I got a million musical things I could talk about and things like that, but that's what scares me the most. It really scares me. We're in an Airbnb out in California right now, and there's a high school right up the street where we used to live around here, and a couple of my kids went to. And I just heard a local story about a couple of football players, like star football players, they died. And it wasn't like they were like doing tons of cocaine and, drinking gallons of vodka. They literally went to a party and there was something laced there. And you got these athletes, not like, you know what I mean? They're healthy, they're young, and they're dead. And so take a look at that, anybody that's young, take a look at that. God, sound like the old guy sitting on the porch waving the finger, but I got some experience here, so I'm going to own it.
Wow, that's really deep.
Yeah, maybe too deep, but you know what? Better than being in a coffin, man. You don't want to see any of your friends in a coffin.
Amen to that.
All my friends are athletes.
That's right. That's the way to go, man. Stay busy. Keep playing.
You can still listen if you want.
Okay.
Man, thank you so much for that. I'll tell you, thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy, man. So like I said, I've got a 15 and 13-year-old, and you know, I don't remember being at that age and being exposed to it at that age, or maybe I was just naive.
Yeah.
But you know, my kids, they're seeing it now with friends or friends of friends, and I'm like, holy crap, we're already facing this already. So
Yeah,
the
it's
fact that
early.
you said that, thank you.
Yeah, it's early, man.
Yeah.
It's early, and we need to demystify this. I had these rock and roll role models. It was a whole different time, and you emulate off of that. And I don't mind being the guy to help demystify it a little bit. It's not always the sexiest conversation, and as Ethan said, it's kind, it's deep, but
So true though.
so true.
It is.
Pass it on, man.
Yeah.
Pass it on.
Is it worth it? Is really the question, right? Is it worth it? And the answer is no, it's not. You're right. I mean, there's some dangerous stuff out there.
Yeah.
Well, man, I have thoroughly enjoyed this. There were
Thanks,
so
man.
many, oh, seriously, man. Like, I'm sure you hear that a lot, but genuinely, like, knowing your story, knowing my story, I was really looking forward to this conversation. And what you shared in here, man, I was like, wow, I kept saying to myself internally, I was like, man, that is so on point.
Thanks, man.
I want to make sure that everybody listening can go grab a copy of your book. Where can people obviously find the book, best places? And then obviously if they want to follow you, where do they follow you at?